Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. This time we're looking at another CPC. So this is another one of the computers that came from Electron Ash. So thank you very much for that, Ash. I am much appreciative of these donations. You can see this one has no screws, so the top just comes straight off. It's a little bit battered here, you know, there's the odd mark, but it'll clean up nicely, I think. And it's got the reset button on the tape counter missing there. And a couple of wires here, presumably when they've been testing, or someone had been testing, tried to feed audio straight in there. So let's just have a quick look at those ribbons. Yeah, they look alright, I think. And again, no screws holding the motherboard in. And now this has had a bit of rework done to it. You can see we've got a ROM socket here, and can you see there's like a trace fixed underneath there? That's socketed. That wouldn't normally be socketed, I don't think. That's the CRTC, isn't it? That looks like that's been resoldered, I think. Yeah, so that's been swapped. That looks like that's been resoldered there, the AY chip. You know, you can sort of see here, you can see the solder points there. So lots of things have been swapped and replaced on this. The main logic looks alright, but look, that's been replaced. Yeah, that's the ore, isn't it? That's what failed in that other video. And you can see some fixes and things gone on here. It's a little bit strange, to say the least. It's very dirty. Look at the state of that board. So it's going to need lots of cleaning up. I might even try and get this in the ultrasonic, actually. It's too big for the ultrasonic, but I could dip one end in and then dip the other end in and then deal with the middle, perhaps. And obviously the RAM's all socketed here as well, so it's had some sort of, well, in theory, a RAM fault or something. Someone's obviously socketed up the RAM there. Anyway, so I need to backfill those first of all, and we need a ROM. Now, the ROMs, you can see there, it says 40009, that's the ROM that would go there. Now, I think the very early ones, I think, had a separate ROM for BASIC and the OS, yeah? And I think what goes here is a combined one, a bit like Commodore did with the C64C. So you've got BASIC and the OS combined, and I think the OS goes first. I could be wrong. I was looking on the CPC wiki and it said that the OS is the lower ROM, so that would make sense for it to be the first image in the ROM that you stick on a chip here, you know, and BASIC in the upper, I think. Yeah, I think that would make sense, because I think you can swap, you can fit Parados, can't you, via a slot on the back here, and that's the upper ROM, isn't it, I think? But yeah, my understanding is if you can connect a ROM cart up to these, I think Parados, if you stick it in there, sits in the upper. So anyway, I'm going to go and get a 27C256, that's 32K I think, and yeah, that should be right, because I think the two ROM images I was looking earlier, the 16K each. So yeah, I'll show you that. We'll just use a hex editor to merge the two files together, program up a 27C256, get that in there, fill the RAM, and see what it's doing. I think we'll connect it up. So this is the EEPROM programmer I use with most stuff these days, actually. The only exception is when I'm doing the larger chips for a Neo Geo, but I think you can get an adapter, you know, for 40 and 42 pin chips for this. Dead straightforward, 60 to £70 will set you back for something like this. You know, you plug your USB in there, connect to your PC, install the software. It works on Windows 10, I'm not sure what other OSs are supported with the current software, and you just stick your chip in and load the software. You know, select the EEPROM type, in this case it's going to be a 27C256, load your ROM and hit program. You might want to do a blank check first to make sure your EEPROM is blank. And if your EEPROM's not blank, use a UV eraser. Something like this, which cost literally about £12 a number of years back, but yeah, you stick your EEPROMs in there, you know, you set it to about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, switch it on, and a UV light beams down in here, and provided your window on your EEPROM is super clean, it will erase the chip. Right, so I've opened the OS ROM in a hex editor here, and now I'm going to open another file here. I'm going to get the BASIC ROM, and I want to select all of the BASIC ROM. Select all. Yeah, copy. Go back to the OS. We want to scroll right down to the very bottom. I've gone down to the last line. You can just see the cursor below there, and I'm going to do Control V. It says, are you sure you want to insert? I'm going to click OK. And if we hit the down arrow, yeah, and then page all the way down to the very bottom, the ROM should be now twice as big as it was. Yeah, it ends, and you can see it ends here at 7FFF. over here. So that's the two ROMs merged. I'm just going to save that. And if I do a blank check, that's coming out blank. So opening the merged ROM there, just click OK. So there is our combined ROM. And we'll do device, program. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, there we go. So let's get the ROM in. Now I have just sent Noel from Noel's Retro Lab a message on Twitter, actually, just asking whether this is right. I mean, I'm doing it anyway, I haven't had a response yet, but I've also asked the question about the Diagnostics ROM, because he's the author of a Diagnostics ROM for the CPC, and it would be really nice to use that moving forward in CPCs that I'll look at. Now my question was, can I stick something in here? Well, actually I found a copy of his original release, so it's probably outdated now. He's been doing lots of changes to it and had lots more functionality. But anyway, in that very early release of the ROM that I've got he released, there's an upper ROM and a lower ROM, so I guess you've got the same issue. Where do you stick it? Can you just merge them together and stick it in here? But one of the tests the ROM does, his test ROM, it checks the basic, I think. It may even check both, be able to check both the ROMs. I don't know how that works. So I'm not sure whether you can fit it here, or whether you need something that plugs on the back there to use the maybe just the upper. I honestly don't know. I don't know enough about it. I've never really looked at the memory map on here. I mean, I guess I could go and research it. Might have to do that yet. If I don't get any kind of response, I might just go do that. So let's now get the RAM in. You can see I've just got a DuPont cable here, pin 1 to pin 3. That's just simulating the power switch being switched on, and I'm going to try it without the RAM. I'm always interested to see what you get. I think without the ROM you just won't get anything, because it's not even booting then, is it? It can't initialise the video, but actually that does seem to be booting. We've got a white screen there. That is positive news, because it looks like it is initialising the video. That makes me think maybe the ROM is right now. I think maybe we just need that RAM, so let's get the RAM in and let's see what it does. But it's consistent in what it's doing there. Nothing's getting hot, so yeah, that's good news. When I'm working on these 464s, I use the module MP-1 here. You know, it's a modulator and power supply. So I believe this is the correct RAM. It came from Yellow Belly, this RAM actually, but I'm going to have to mix because we've not got exactly the right number of chips here. We've got one short, haven't we, I think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, maybe we've got enough. Yeah, we've got enough. Got an extra one there. ESD wrist strap is on here. I just don't want to take any chance with these dying from a little bit of static. I mean, of course, we're assuming the connectivity on these sockets are good, but we can test all that stuff out. Logic probe is your friend when it comes to things like that. And there we go. So that's the RAM installed. Let's just make sure pin 1's the right way around. Power it on, just have a feel here. Oh my god, it works! There we go. Shortest repair in history. Because I don't think there's actually anything wrong with it, is there? Obviously we need to test it, but yeah, this has been a super short, easy reassembly more than anything, isn't it? So let's get a cassette in, switched on. Well, that's good. Belt seems alright on that. Perhaps good enough for testing. So we'll press play, it's not doing anything, and then it's control and small enter, isn't it, I think? Or was it shift and small enter? Ah, keyboard's not working. Yeah, so like control and small enter, if it's control, shift, small enter, not doing anything. So that's not a good sign, but I think we can tap load, can't we? Is it load like that? Yeah, press the key. So yeah, okay, we'll have a look at the keyboard in a bit. Let's just see if that works. Yeah, tape deck needs some work, doesn't it? It needs new belts at least. Oh no, I think that's the end of my Chase HQ tape. Somehow got to get that out there without damaging it. This is not good. I think it's all gone around the pinch roller, hasn't it? The big problem here is how do you unwind that? Right, you can start to carefully sort of try and pull it out here. like this, just really carefully. Is it even coming out? I don't know. The temptation is just to yank it, but you know what, if you do that, you're going to have a big problem. And it's, I can't even get the tape out, can I, to try and unwind the pinch roller. Not sure what to do. Yeah, so after unwinding it a little bit there, you can see it's coming out. I don't see any major twists or stuff on it, and I'm just pushing the pinch roller that way because it seems to have wound itself around it. Look, it's coming out, look. So, I don't know. Oh, there's a bit of a chew there. Just being really delicate here. You can see lots of it is coming out. Oh my goodness, how much is wrapped around there? It's incredible how quick that's wrapped. I think I see the end of it now. I think the end of it's here somewhere. Hang on. Let's just try and pull it a little bit further out. Yeah, there are some kinks there, look. Oh god, this is unbelievable. The cassette is almost on the left hand side of the CPC. Let's just try and carefully pull this. I just hope it's not like twisted. See, it's caught on something there. What's it caught on? Has it gone over the thing? I could do with just pulling this door off, actually. I can't quite remember how you get that off now, is it? I don't think you can this way around. Let's just try and just keep... Yeah, it's hooked on something there, I think. It is hooked on. So I guess I can wind it back in here, can't I? Let's just start doing that. Let's just wind it this way. Wind that way. That is the first time I've had that happen on a CPC. I'm sure it's happened to Novabook a lot of times with Chewy. Let's look at the tape here. Oh, that's mangled, isn't it? That is mangled. But we might be alright, you never know, the other side of the tape might be okay. Yeah, look at that mangle there. Look at that ripple there, that's terrible. But the other side might work, so yeah, maybe all is not lost. Oh, it's come out now. That's mysterious. It's like I didn't even do anything and suddenly I'm winding it back in and suddenly it's ended up here. I could have sworn it was stuck. It was caught on something, but somehow it's freed itself. Wow. You see, that there is enough to be game over, but what you can do is, you know, just hold it like that and then do a little bit of that, and sometimes you can get some of the ripple out of it there just from tension. You can see it's straightened a little bit, but you can snap it if you're not careful. So pressing play here while it's engaged, the spindle there is really firmly moving, so the belt is okay. It's this roller here, it's dead smooth. So I'm just going to just clean this with some IPA, and then I'm going to use a piece of light sandpaper just to make it a slightly rougher surface. Let's just dry that. So this stuff is almost just like smooth. It feels like it isn't sandpaper, but in any case I'm just gonna just hold that on the end there like that. Let's just give it another go down here. That's a bit better, so let's try that. Yeah, the thing I'm watching for here is a difference, a mismatch between the speed of these. See that? Look. Right, it's going, it's going. If that stops, stop the tape deck straight away. Loading chase block 1. Do you know what? I think we got out of the danger area here. Memory full. So that is interesting, isn't it? That could indicate we have a RAM fault, but it could be that tape was chewed. I'm going to rewind the tape to the other side just to see if we get the same thing. Right, so that's rewound. Let's press play and watch these spindles. Now I guess I could try and connect the DDI3. Yeah, memory full, look. So now either the tape is the issue here, you know, that's causing us the memory full, or maybe there's a RAM fault. So let's try and connect the DDI3 up, I think. So I've got the wrist strap on again here just because there's lots of bare electronics on this and I'd hate to kill my DDI3. So we need to connect this up, don't we? So, hang on a minute, what does that say? Floppy disk. Now there is some corrosion on the pins there, so you know what, it might not even make a good connection. So that's that. Let's now power that on and see what happens. Blue screen, hang on a minute. Yeah, that's a bit strange actually. Now this does have a ROM on there, doesn't it? So just looking there, that looks alright. Maybe it wasn't making a good connection or something, maybe it's pushed too far back. Let's just pull the keyboard up, connect that on. Try and get that back down, let's just overhang it a little bit and connect power up. Yeah, it looks alright there. Let's just try cat. Hang on. Well, delete makes that. I didn't know delete made a noise on these. Let's try cat. Why is cat? Hang on. What is going on here? Has someone swapped the keys around? Yeah, they have. V and C are swapped around on this. Let's just try cat. Now let's look at the tape. So that's weird. So the DDI3 doesn't work. Let's swap these around. I hope I haven't killed it. Let's just swap these around because this V and this C are not around the right way, are they? I don't even know how that's happened. A little bit of corrosion there on that spring. So it's ZXC and V. It's mysterious, isn't it, how those got swapped? QWERTY, UIOP, ASDFG, that's correct. And of course I am perplexed as to why the control didn't seem to be working. Unless it was the small enter. I mean, there's little point in pulling these off anyway. I'm just curious just to pull them off, see if they've got the spring in. And they do. Because if that spring there was missing, it'd feel normal, but it wouldn't be registering. So obviously it's a membrane issue. Either that, or something with the AY chip perhaps. Strange how the disk drive wasn't doing anything. It wasn't even illuminating. It's like it wasn't powered. Yeah, small enter doesn't do anything. Arrow keys left does. Yeah, 9 doesn't. 4, 5, 6 doesn't. 1, 2, 3 doesn't. 0 dot. Oh yeah, that explains it. So in terms of the keys, we've got like a row here that's not doing anything. I'm just going to fiddle with the ribbon edge there, just to make sure it's not a bad, you know, connection on the edge. Let's just put a bit of pressure on it while I try and do this. Nope. I cleaned the edge connector there just with some IPA. Can you see that? It's green. So that explains why that wasn't working. I'll show you. If I just connect this up, the screen is now coming on. It's saying tapper. And if I type cat, it's hitting the disk drive. And that's working now. A minute ago it froze. And if we type run tapper, let's just see what happens. Is that going to bomb? Or is it going to work? Bomb, I think. Oh no, it's not. It's actually loading. Which makes me think my tape is now balked, actually. Is that still loaded or not? Yeah, it is. I can see the tracks going up on the DDI. So that seems to work, doesn't it? Let's do one player. Start. Now we've not got sound because I've not got the connector connected up there for sound. So that would seem to indicate it's not a RAM issue. My tape is now knackered. And you know what? I'm just wondering if I'm having a bit of a stupid moment here. Can you see I've just changed the command to run? Because it's that long since I used the CPC. I think I was trying to load it from as like a basic. And I think, let's just see what happens. I've inspected the tape. There are some chew marks on there, but I've stretched them out. Oh, hang on a minute. It didn't come up with memory full this time. So maybe it's working. Hey, it's working. I think I've got away with it. So despite, I'll show you that tape, despite how badly creased the tape is, I've got away with it. It's all right. Thought I was going to have to go and buy replacement Chase HQ to test these with. Still going strong there. Oh yes! So I've got the arcade stick I made in a previous video here, you know, select star, A, B, C, D, it's for Neo Geo. But, as I showed when I did that video, I made an adapter. I used the extra part of the Neo Geo cable, you know, because I got an adapter, male to female, and then of course the bit that chopped off that I didn't need. Heat shrink here, cable tie, looks a bit dodgy. But I put a 9-pin connector on there, so I can use this with all my 8 bits now, which is really nice. Using an arcade stick on a CPC is fantastic. And on this particular model, the joystick goes here. Sometimes it's on the side here. Yeah, so that's working. I did have a problem going left for a minute, and then I realised it's because the board's not screwed in. It's not making a good connection. You know, the board has pushed back a little bit. Yeah, I'm playing very badly. But anyway, all directions and things are working there. The game seems alright. So I think we could call that a success in terms of the RAM and stuff. So the part that's damaged here, this is the part where when you first start the tape you've got silence, 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 then it goes beep somewhere. So you've got like a lead-in tone that it uses to synchronise itself with. Now, because it's mostly creased there, it's not so much of a problem. And if we wind this way, you can see it's pretty creased. Look at that, all the way along here. The one thing I did do to straighten it out somewhat is, as I say, finger in there, and then just pull one of them tight. Can you see? When it's tight, it's all right. And you could argue that as it's being pulled through, that's helping straighten it up a little bit. But when you get big creases like that, you do need to try and somehow straighten them out a little bit. Look, there's a few here, look. That's pretty bad. But this does work. It's consistent. I've tried it dozens of times here now. It works perfectly, but there are some pretty nasty kinks in there. Look at that. It almost looks like a rip, but if you straighten it, you know, tension it, yeah, you could break it doing this, but that can just help. Anyway, I'll give it another try, but it's working every time. So we'll get our label onto this ROM here. It's not that essential because it's internal, but it's always useful because it tells someone what's actually on it. We're removing the ROM here now. Let's test with Noel's Diagnostics ROM. So you can see I've used the chip extractor to remove that, put that onto an ESD pad. The Diagnostics ROM I've doubled up here, so it's the same ROM in two different halves of the ROM there, same chip, 27C 256. Pin 1 is, let's just check that, pin 1 is to the left here, that's correct. If you just plug that in. So I've got the Diagnostics ROM in there. This is a good test because, well, A, we can have a tinker with it. There we go. That's doing a memory test, isn't it? It does a RAM test first of all. Now, from what I understand, I remember this from watching his videos, that if you've got a RAM fault there, it's got no way of easily presenting that information with a, you know, a display of text like this, because you need all the RAM there for that. So he's got some very clever code in there where he changes the colour of the bars and things on the edge, I think, and he's managed to display something using blocks or something. It's quite clever how he's done it. You'll have to check his video out down below. But yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. It's really useful. So in its initial version, there's limited things you can do there. Obviously, you can test the lower ROM. Well, that's going to fail because I've got 2 copies, as I say, of the Diagnostics ROM. I thought, let's just do that. It's going to say it's incorrect because it's checking against itself. Yeah, that there is going to be the checksum. Well, all of these are going to be the checksum of the Diagnostics ROM itself, because that's all that's in this system. It's interesting you can have all these different ROMs in the CPC. I never realised there was that much you know, address space for it to map different ROM chips in there, but clearly there is. I'm guessing it's going to stop at F, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, we've got the keyboard test. We'll do that in a second. And then you've got soak test. So yeah, limited options in terms of specific tests there, but it's an evolution in process. The main thing is with this, it allows you to, you know, check the RAM, but also check your ROMs as well. So one nice thing with this board design here, as you can see, I can have the lid at an angle here, use a DuPont, you know, to trick the power and to switch it on. And we've got this connector here, which is for the alternative connector. I'm not sure if it uses that small one as well, I think just the large one. So I can use the logic probe on here and press keys and things, just see if we get activity. If I press the, I don't know, the small enter, for example, and I see something on here, then I know it's not going to be the membrane that's the problem. It's just an easy way. I'm getting lazy here, because what I should do really is go look at the schematics and look at where these come in, look at how the keyboard matrix is laid out, and then I could probe on the chips over here and stuff to work out whether the problem is on the board. In fact, you can even simulate join a short wire between one of the pins on one connector and the other to generate the key press. But I figure if I use the logic probe, I should be able to detect, when I press keys, I should be able to detect activity somewhere on here. So to connect the logic probe, I think I'm just going to have a measure around. So I've got ground here. I went round here somewhere last time, see, like that's a ground. Somewhere here's a VCC, so we go from a VCC pin. One of these resistors, I'm sure, is on VCC somewhere. Yeah, so I've got a VCC here. Let me just now see if I can find a nearby ground. So if we go from the ground on that pin there, it's not going to be across there obviously, but that cap, so we could go like from that cap there and there maybe. So what I mean is, you know, connect the positive there and our negative there. I think I don't really like the way that that's rotating, so I'm connecting up the DuPont here, pin 3. If I can just move that out of the way. So that's the power, and if we connect power here and just connect the logic probe to something here. Yeah, there we go. So that logic probe is working. And I guess what we need to do now is have a look down here. So, for example, if I just find a key, let's just press Q, and we'll just keep pressing it. So, see that? Get some pulses there. I don't think you can see that. Shouldn't be anywhere else, I don't think. It could be, because there are going to be two traces connecting. There you go. So that's those two connected. It's like up here, isn't it? And that one, I think. Yep. But all other connections here should not register anything. Oh, there's a lot that are unused there, floating. Maybe it does use that small connector. Yeah, that's pulsing. It's like a clock or something going across there. Probably doesn't actually go to the keyboard. Oh, it registers there. So yeah, there seems to be two connectors there, look. In any case, it's a nice test point, isn't it? So, I forget where it was now. There. So let's now press the small enter. So it's a membrane. So how can you be 100% sure it's the membrane and not something on here? Well, I've looked at the schematics here. Sorry, it's very fuzzy. So here's the membrane. You've got 8 or so connections there, maybe 9 I think, and then you've got a load of connections here. Now if I just zoom out a little bit, half of them come from the AY chip here, that whole strip there that go down that way. Yeah, those provide those ones, and on the other side you've got 1, 4, 5 decoder doing the other ones. So I was like, okay, well, where is it? And so again, in the service manual, I'll post a link down below if I can, you've got a matrix here of all of the keys. Now the ones we're interested in, you can just about see it: up arrow, right arrow, down arrow, 9, 6, 3, small enter. Those are the ones that aren't working, and they all go to here, and it says pin 19 on the connector. And you can see 19 there, yeah? So 19 goes to pin 1 on the decoder. So if we put a wire from pin 1 of the decoder here, that's where it goes, 19 on the connector there, you can see. And then any of the connections here we can short to, and we should get a different key, some of the ones that don't work. And you can see they start at 7, so you've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on the AY chip. So just by virtue of holding a wire onto pin 1 here, being careful not to short to pin 2 for certain, and then on the chip up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and if I just touch a wire there, I've got a dot, and the one next to it here, I've got a down arrow. Oh, it's a small enter, that. 3, and I'll show you that there. So I'm holding the wire, you've got down, look, 3, that wasn't working. Next one should be 6, I think. Yep, that wasn't working. 9 wasn't working. Yeah, there you go. So, without a doubt, that is the issue. So armed with that knowledge, I may as well take the keyboard apart now. So we'll remove the screws holding the keyboard in. So as to lift this out here, we need to disconnect this ground, look. Just wiggle it and pull it off. And there we go, that's our keyboard out. So reminiscent of the Archimedes here, you've got to push these clips like that, as you can see. Try and hold the two pieces separate if you can as you push these. It gets easier as you go along, like this is starting to come away on this edge here, but you've got to just work your way across. Try not to push these too far because they will snap off. There we go, sort of towards the middle now. Probably going to end up breaking this one off if I'm not careful. There we go. So if we now pull the plate off, pretty clean in there actually. That's not what I expected. A very little dust, look. So somewhere here, I think we have a problem. Of course, worst case is it could be something here. Anyway, I need to do a bit of inspection now because right now I can't really see where the problem is. I'm thinking actually, whilst we've proved the board works alright here, the chips, what we don't know is the connectivity from here getting to where it needs to go, because that's been removed, hasn't it? I think that might have been replaced. Maybe there's a bad damaged trace here. Now, because it's a full row, you know, a row of keys, or a column you could argue, then it's got to be this pin here. It's got to be this here. And in fact, no, it can't be that chip because we've stimulated the thing by shorting, haven't we? So it can't be that. So from there to here, we should have a connection. I think it said it was 19, didn't it? Yeah, look. So it's got to join there. So it must be the membrane. Mind you, it's these that we're dealing with, not that. So if it doesn't go here, that would explain it. Nope, it goes there, look. So it must be the membrane. I can't see the problem. The easy way to do it is to look at this. We know it's this first connection here. You know, this is the outer connector. It's that first pin where we just measured connectivity. So if we just follow that trace all the way, it comes all the way down here. It looks good, looking good, looking good, looking good, looking good all the way along here. Ooh, what have we got here? Looks a bit funny colour there. Can you see that? And the one above it as well. So that's where the fault is. That is where the fault is there. Oh, hang on a minute, maybe not, because look over here as well. This looks even worse, actually. Looks even worse. Can you see you've got like a white centrepiece there and a black outline? It goes funny colour there a little bit, but look at this. That's just like solid black. And there's not so clever. So, bear in mind, it's this strip here that's not working. So maybe it's just that, because that key does work. I'll try and get a knife like that. Can you see, look, I managed to get it in there. And then we can just slide it, I've shown this before, slide it up there. It's the white bit here where it's joined. Let's just go all the way up to about there, I think. I've got to try and get the knife back in now, I can't see it, there we go. And pull it across here. And now it does go right up there, so we're going to have to somehow do that bit as well. Separate here, look. Then try there, it's just coming at an angle. There we go. That might be enough now for us to be able to peel it. Let's just have a look. This is not going to be as easy as I thought here, because if you look here, there's like a white coating over there. There isn't on these ones I've looked at before. It's different when it's the things down here that are damaged, but actually it's not, it's this side. Being careful not to crease it here. But those all look fine to me. We can of course now just do connectivity test on a meter, you know, from the edge connector to these here, and just go, and again I've shown this before, very carefully side on, try and use the little lump like that there just to hold on to it, don't wobble because you'll wear the carbon off. So if we measure the resistance between these two here, you'll see 2.4k, so that's the problem. Now there's another K or two from here, from there all the way to the ribbon edge, but that key works, so we know that that's actually okay. So the bits where it's kind of worn here, that hasn't actually caused us a show-stopping problem. However, 2.5K between there and there is a problem. I'm going to do my usual blobby painting here. This is not the best way of doing this, without a doubt. We're not too bothered about the thing being not straight and all the rest of it. Just trying to stipple it out a little bit there. That should do, I think. So yes, not tidy. But if I get some hot air now, let's apply 100 degrees here. I'm just waiting for it to cool down because it overshoots to about 160 degrees actually. Got to wait for it to cool down to 100. You could apply it with something like a cocktail stick or something like that. Yeah, don't go as thick as I've gone there. This should just make it finger touch dry. Right, I'm mistaken, that key doesn't work, so it isn't just this bit, despite the fact that there was like, I don't know, 2.5K there. If I just try and carefully peel this back, you can see here, can you see? I've just managed to get a bit of the coating off there. This is the good bit. It goes bad here and up here. So I need to do the same thing here. Now let me just show you. So I'm using the multimeter probe because it's nice and sharp. And if you just sort of edge away at this, can you see, look, it's starting to lift like that. You can get under it, look, it's tearing. Yeah, and then you can tear a piece off like that, just very carefully. See that? Look, the white stuff's come off. So what I need to do now is get my painting hat back on and paint from here over here. Right, just letting my crazy painting dry there. It's going to take a while. I've just measured the resistance actually on the second connection down to the first key, if you like, the third key from the edge. It's 2K. So these seem to be around 2K across the matrix there. The one we've just done is showing 5K at the moment. It was higher than that before. So, and it's going down. Every minute I check it, it's gone down by, I don't know, 50 ohms or something. So it does take an hour or two before, you know, it will set completely and you get quite a low resistance. That should be only a few 100 or 200 ohms across that probably by the time it's dried. So after much messing about here, I have managed to get this keyboard working. Now there are fixes you can do to these using conductive ink that are reliable, long-lasting ones. This is a good example here where the damage starts here. Can you see what I've ended up doing is doing what I did on Amiga keyboards. The membrane was so bad, the resistance was way too high, even with some conductive ink. You know, I had conductive ink going all the way here. That distance there was adding up to about 2K, which is too much. Now, I think it could have been because the ink had settled, because I squeezed the container a bit before when I redid it, and actually distances, you know, sort of that long now are like ohms, like 50 ohms, 20 ohms, 30 ohms, etc. So that's something to note, that if you've got conductive ink and it's been sat around for a while, give the container a good squeeze of all around different orientations to mix it inside before you use it, because I've not used that in, I don't know, 18 months, maybe 12 months, something like that. Anyway, so what I've ended up having to resort to doing here, because of that, not necessarily now, because like I said, I've mixed it, is a piece of copper there, copper tape, so it's sticky back copper tape, you can stick it over. So I stuck it over the area there. Let me just see if I can flip it over to show you. So the inner trace here, that was affecting 1 and 2, so I've managed to just use conductive ink just literally a few minutes ago. There, it's already dry enough and those keys are working already. You can see wherever I stuck this conductive ink down, I stick a piece of sellotape over. But then here, instead of conductive ink going all the way up here, I peeled that off and stuck the piece of copper over the middle of the trace. You know, there's a bit exposed on either side. Conductive ink on either side, that's hard now. It's like a lump, it's pretty big. Now, that's where you've got to be careful, because say we had a lump here near this key, that's going to interfere with you pressing this key. And when you press this key, the pressure on this area here, say you had a blob of conductive ink, could wear it to the point where it comes loose. Let's say, for instance, you had ink on this trace here with the copper tape. Well, every time you press this, you're pressing the membrane a little bit, aren't you? So it could come loose. That's the issue. So like that there, super long-term reliable, no problems. That bit there, super long-term reliable, no problems, because there's nothing near it to affect it. But over here, this is where it gets super bodgy, because what I realised was, from measuring on resistance, it was resistance from here to all the way back over there. I think, let's just move that back a bit. So you can see it comes up here, yeah? So the resistance between here and over there was like 8k. That's the blooming problem, even after the fix. So I soldered a wire here onto a piece of copper tape again. Don't solder it while it's in situ, you'll melt the blooming thing. So, you know, on my workbench, soldered the piece of copper tape, removed the extra solder using braid, so it's literally just that fine piece of hair thickness of wire onto the copper tape. Another piece of copper tape there, and then conductive ink on either side, you know, to join it all up, and then a piece of tape over the whole lot to hold it in place. And it's the same thing here, a piece of copper over there, you know, conductive ink, because again there was like 4k just between that pad and that pad, yeah, and tape again over there to protect it. So whilst this works perfectly 100% reliably at the moment, it's like, say you press here, can you see, you know, it's like it affects in the here with pressure. So I mean, it all depends on how firm it is inside the, you know, the metal backing there, and it depends on how much this gets hammered, but it could in theory, you know, detach there. And exactly the same over here, and exactly the same over here. But anyway, I'll show you that is working. It goes without saying that if it's just in the middle of a connection there, you'll get away with it. When it's somewhere like that, yeah, I've got away with it. But you know what? How reliable would it be? I don't want to sell it that way. If I do sell this CPC, it's going to be quite clear in the advert for this. Keyboard membrane really needs replacing, temporarily working. Might not work within a week, you know, or even a day. It could last a year, no idea. I mean, I will test this now. I'm not going to sell this at this point, so I can report back towards the end of this video, and it might be 2-3 weeks or a month or two later, and I'll let you know how I've been getting on with it. And I'll be testing these keys daily, regularly, a number of times a day, just to see how long lasting this is. So we're still in Noel's Diagnostics V1.2 here. Now if I press the keys in that corner, so the small enter, that wasn't working, you can see that works now. The key next to it, that works. The 0 works. The 1 and 2, those were a pain. Those were those ones with that little bit I've just shown you where there's conductive ink on its own. And then obviously 3 works, 6 works, hang on, yeah, 6 works, 9 works. Yeah, everything around here works, including all the arrow keys I've got up here. These arrow keys, they all work now as well. So every key on the keyboard, as far as I can gather, works. I just need to reassemble it. So I cleaned the little bits of this metal work here and got rid of the rust. And if I now go into the keyboard test, I'll press K. You see that works. And if I do that number pad, bear in mind the whole right hand strip was not working. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. And a lot of these arrow keys, these ones here, those were not working. Those do now. And everything else works. If I sort of try and flick over this, I'm trying to do it quite quick, so I might miss a key. I missed a W there, look. Just basically bouncing my fingernail over them. Yeah, every key works. Fantastic. Right, it's time to clean the board. It's not going to fit in the ultrasonic, even, you know, I'd probably just get like that much of the sides of the board actually fitting in there. So it's far easier just to go over it with cotton buds and paper towel and stuff. I'll start just by going around like this, and then we'll go over with some paper towel. We can just do some focus cleaning initially. And yes, it takes a long time, but yeah, I'll be honest, it's kind of AMSR for me. It's like I enjoy it, and especially afterwards when I look at the board and it's you know, in excellent condition. So I've probably spent a couple of hours cleaning this up. Actually, I'm just kind of polishing any marks off now. There might still be a bit of IPA needed in places, like maybe there. Yeah, you can see it's like smearing, and that means there's still some flux there. So you can see the top is pretty good there now actually. There's not a mark and stuff, but you know what, I'm never going to get this absolutely perfect. But what we do need to do is clean these connections up here. That's the one I wiped over with IPA earlier, just to test the DDI3. So let's get some paper towel below there. It just helps capture some of the bristles from this, you know, the fibres. And we'll just go over this lightly with the fiberglass pencil. It seems to collect the oxidisation and corrosion, but you can see that's pretty good actually, almost good as new. That one looks awful. There we go, it's pretty good, almost good as new. The underside, however, does also need doing. So as I say, I'm not going to do the entire underneath of here, I'll just do where it needs it. So there's obviously a trace being cut previously in the past there and then joined up. So for good measure, we will resolder this. I'm actually going to go as far as removing the old solder. And we'll just add some fresh. There we go, that's one done. And whilst it doesn't really need it, I'm going to reflow the joystick port as well, because even though the points look okay there, you know, it's been used an awful lot in its lifetime, this CPC probably. Joysticks will have been in and out of there. It's only a matter of time before you get a bad solder point there for sure. But just doing a bit of this here, you know, we can mitigate, you know, stop the spread of the IPA here with flicking it around, look, and just focus on this little bit. And of course the same goes for the audio connector there, you could reflow that. In practice you tend to find that never gets much use. It's more commonly used now, because obviously these days we've got RGB SCART leads and things, and it's nice to feed the audio into your TV, but back in the day most people would have just used the modulator. Well, there isn't a modulator, is there? They connect a modulator up or monitor. Let's just absorb the majority of that. Yeah, that's not too bad. So the bolts have arrived, and I've got some screws. These look too big. These are the ones for the actual case. I think the thread might be just a wee bit too thick there. This is the thing, it might be a bit of trial and error. Although, it's not going to be far off, I don't think. We can try that in a second. And I've ordered shorter ones with the same size thread like that for the motherboard, but again, it could be a bit too thick. It might be a size smaller. Yeah, it's annoying. I think it's a size too big. If you look at that there, I think that's going to be too tight. Then I could just try, just to see, is it going to... No, it's going to be too tight. It's a size too big there. But we can, of course, get on with the refurbishment of the tape drive here. So we'll just get the screws out that hold this in. So something that's interesting about this one, you can see that red wheel around there. You know, that's been replaced, that rubber, at some point in the past. Now, the belts are okay on this, but I'm swapping them out anyway. We'll take that one off there. Obviously the tape counter needs to come off because the button is broken on it. You've seen all this stuff on a previous video. I'll stick a link top right. But anyway, we'll replace that while we're here as well. You've got to be careful with these screw heads because they tear up really easily. That frees that up. And the belts. One thing that makes this a bit difficult is it's joined on with the ground here. And the LED here, which is on the keyboard but soldered on here, so yeah, it makes it a little bit fiddly. And you've got the speaker. I'm just going to leave the speaker where it is. I can just literally manipulate it and move it around this area here. Yeah, you can see someone's torn the head of that screw in the past, so maybe they did that to replace the belts, probably. I suspect I'm replacing these belts here and they probably don't need doing. Look, there's nothing to grip there, that's gone. That's completely gone. Gonna have to use a flat blade or something with that probably. Oh no, I'm getting it out with this. But the head on that, trust me, has literally disintegrated. I feel it slipping. Oh god, that was seriously hard to get out. You can see with this, it's quite hard to replace because it's quite specialised. It's got a long, smooth part there. So, what a nightmare. And again, I've shown this before, this screw on the side here. Just need to undo that screw, careful you don't lose it. And then pull it away from this thing here, and this thing should come off. It's attached with a spring there. Just carefully put that screw down there. Now we've done that, I think, if we carefully, I don't want to lose that. Oh. Just try and get this belt off. I need to hook it, there we go, like that. And yeah, can you see that bend in it there? I mean, they all get like that, and there's one up there. So where it's been sat stationary for a period of time. And here's our new replacement belt. So of course the difficulty here is getting it under there. The angle I'm at here, I can't see what I'm doing, can I? So I've hooked it onto that wheel. Can you see I can rotate it, and then I can just carefully pull it down this way and pull it up this way, and then just rotate it around a few times and just inspect it to make sure it's not twisted. That looks alright to me, actually. Now comes the fun part, trying to get this back on. So I think it sort of went here, didn't it? Like that. And then this went over here, did it? Where did it go? I'm not sure. So let's get that screw back in. That's it. It's pulled it into position. So hopefully that's okay, I think it is. So just using some mole grips there. Now it's not gripping the thread, so it's squashing thread. It literally is just gripping that screw. I used a file initially just to file out a channel. Now I do have a Dremel. I could have used a Dremel. Once you've made a mark perfectly in the centre there, then you can step up to using something like a hacksaw. And again, just nice and slow, small strokes to start with. Once you've got a channel there, you should be able to get slightly longer movements like that. So that's dug in there deep enough, I think, now. So that's probably deep enough. And as I say, you can then clean up any burrs and things that are sticking out of it like that. It looks way better. It almost looks manufactured, actually. Right, let's take that out. So there's no way that would have gone in as it was. You can sort of see there's a nice slice in the top now. So using a flat blade, we can get it back in. Not slipping, look. That's exactly what we want. And of course it means when someone wants to come in here in future to change that belt, they're not going to get stuck like we did. That's it. Perfect. So I've got the replacement 3D printed button there, and you can see that works. If I just, mind you, it's going backwards, isn't it? Rotate it backwards, press reset, and it resets. One thing I did have to do is put some pressure here on these, this way, here, on these gears. So, can you see that? Just push that across the left hand side, because what was happening, this left edge here was not being reset. So this, the way you get this off is you just prise very carefully underneath on each side. Now I might need to take this back to pieces again, depending on whether the button gets stuck on the case, because I had that on the other one. I had to then file the plastic of the button around here. So let's just see how we get on. But yeah, look, clip, and it should clip here. Why is it not going forwards? Now it's sticking down now, look. Yeah, this is the problem. So you can see now, what's happening here now is it's catching on the clear plastic here. So I do need to do some more filing with that. Gives me an opportunity to take it back to pieces again and show you that, I guess. So yeah, a little bit of leverage there, a little bit there. It's coming off there, look, can you see that? That side's off. And here. But what you're not trying to do is lever it over the notch. You're just trying to lift it up a little bit while you pull. Like that. So I'll take this off, and we need to file it at this point here, don't we? So I had to adjust that about 8 times actually, but hopefully, as you'll see now, it comes back up. So I had to shave some off this edge here and shave some off this edge here, because it was catching on the bottom here when it was coming back up and stopping it from, you know, coming all the way back out. So hopefully that's alright, but we may need to adjust it further. It depends how well this aligns with the hole now. It's fairly clean in here, but we'll have a clean with some cotton buds in a minute. So the next thing we need to do is get the new belt on here. That's going to sit like that, isn't it, there? So we need to pull it into position there, try and avoid getting a twist, and put it below the metalwork here. So just pulling it up like this, just make sure that belt is straight. It looks straight to me, and we'll get the screws in here. Being very careful not to damage the head of the screw. I'm going to use a smaller screwdriver in a minute, because otherwise I'll tear the tops of these up as I tighten it. But for this, just locating it, I can use this screwdriver. There we go. You see it's starting to get tight now, and this screwdriver will slip on the head if I'm not careful. And we'll just use this Posi jewelers here. Just try and pull it up into position. That one's tight. And we'll do the same with that one. So hopefully that's it. Hopefully if we rotate this, that goes round and we can reset it. So I'll just have a clean around this with cotton buds. You can see actually it is dirty. You can see it's quite a bit of fluff and dust in there. I previously cleaned the head here actually. I did that before I used my tape. So you can see, you know, it's pretty spotless. Clean that little rail thing, that's like a slide guide, isn't it, for the tape to slide over. It's just plastic. And then the erase head here, again, just give that a little bit of a clean. Again, it's pretty spotless. And just wipe that little guide there as well. And then whilst we're here, we'll clean this red wheel as well. Just rotating it, you know, putting it on the cotton bud there, you can see there's a little bit of dirt coming off that. Not a lot. It's kind of reddish because that's what happens when you use IPA on rubbers. It kind of dissolves the surface a bit. And we'll do the same thing on this plastic wheel here. It's going to rotate it. Now this has got a clutch in it, hasn't it? If I remember right, I can feel it slipping. Now you can better see the problem with the pinch roll here. Can you see it's pretty smooth? That is the problem. That's when they start to slip. So I'm going to go get my fine sandpaper again and give that a little bit of a roughing up. It's pretty difficult doing this, but I'm just kind of going up and down it as I slowly rotate it a number of times. Yeah, we'll give that a try. That's looking a bit better. It's screwed in with 3 screws there, and you can see that is working. It's not sticking down. It's perfect. That's in just the right position. When you're shipping these out to people, what I do is stick a couple of layers of cardboard here, like 3 or 4 pieces of a cardboard box flat there, which raises it to slightly higher than this button, and then do the same over there, and then just stick some tape over the top. So this button can't get whacked in transit, because that's often what happens with these. They work alright when people take them out of storage and stuff, and then they ship them off on eBay, and you know, it bangs around in the box with the bubble wrap tightly around it, and it just gets sheared off from the, you know, impacts on the sides. So a spray type of contact cleaner is certainly better for the switch, but we should be able to just put some on the top here like this, on this, and give it a bit of a rotate, and it will seep in there. I can feel that already, it's loosening up. Now this was noisy. What I mean by that is you'd get to the top end of it, and the TV would go as you adjusted it. You know, you got noise because it's detached from the wipers. You know, the wipers were not making a good connection there. Some oxidisation or dirt or something there. So let's just wipe that and get that back on. It's keyed, this, you can see it's got a shape there that matches the top of that. Yeah, I think I had that the wrong way up. I think it goes like that. That's it, it goes like that, because it was the underneath there that was dirty. And the same thing with the switch here. We're just going to flood a crazy amount there on both sides, and it will get in there. Trust me, when you do this enough like this, it will get in there. But a spray does make it a bit easier, because you get quite a lot more volume with the spray. So rather than get this in the sink, because it's so big, and I found that you can clean these this way a lot easier, I'm just using a toothbrush here and going right into the gaps with IPA here. Number of passes here, this is like the second pass here, and you know, press it right in there, otherwise you don't get the bits of dirt out. And the squashed cotton bud technique works really well for these, because you can just push it through there like that and then do that. So any of the dirt that's settled on the bottom there just wipes straight off. So I've got a couple of scratches here, so let's get some of the glazed plastics on there just to see if any of these can be improved somewhat. I think not, because you can see that it's pretty deep. There's a pretty deep gouge. Circular motion is what you want to go for here. Don't just do that one bit either, you know, go over the whole lot, otherwise you'll get an uneven surface to it. Where you've got bits stuck out like that there, I've shown this technique before in relation to case edges. Use something that's smooth and flat like this and just carefully push into it. Can you see that? It's got rid of the outward fold. You know, it's like bent outwards a little bit. Just a little bit of pressure Pressing towards it like that with the smooth edge is the best thing to do. You see that? That's not really any worse. Stands out a little bit on the surface. I mean, again, you could go that way, but the thing's in the way. I mean, we can sort of alleviate that by doing it this way, look, like that. And then just moving carefully that way, there. So you can see it's just pressed it down a little bit, again, that way. Yeah, that's not too bad now. So the scratches there have not improved, that one hasn't really, it's a little bit better. But once we get some polish on there, it should come up a bit better. And when I say polish, I'm talking about, you know, some silicone. Back to black should do the job. Anyway, we can reassemble that now. So it might not look it, but this has been through the sink and it's been scrubbed with IPA as well. But if we now get the board back into position here, but I think 2.9mm were the correct in terms of the width here. I couldn't get those, I ended up with 3, so it's like slightly bigger. But because they're self-tapping, as you can see, they go in. That's it. Board totally firm. And of course they're all going to match, but yeah, this is slightly widening the holes compared to what would have originally been there. There we go, nice and firm. Yeah, just the right length. If you go too long, you'll screw through the underneath of the plastic. And there we go, board all screwed in. Doesn't that look nice with nice new screws, and obviously the board's super clean. So I can literally just flip this down. There's still these big scratches to see if we can, I don't know, do something with. I don't think they're going to get any better. So connect that up, sit it here, flip it over. So the case screws, these are the 2.9mm ones, a bit thinner, and they're also longer. It says there 4G times 1.5 inch, yeah, 25. Anyway, let's try these. I think I tried one of these before and they were okay. Obviously you need them to be a bit longer. That went straight into the hole conveniently. Use the other screwdriver here, that's it. Yeah, there we go, straight in, tighten it up. That's it. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Yeah, so I would guess from my trials here with these different screws of different sizes, 2.9mm is what you want on the width, and then it's all about having longer ones like this for the lid and the short ones like less than a centimetre for the actual PCB. So all reassembled and cleaned up. I'll give you a quick look over this in a minute. It's not perfect, there's the odd mark and stuff as you've seen. We'll just fast forward this a bit, rewind it. It's not been used in ages, this. I've been focused on finishing off some other stuff that you've seen recently. And there we go, it's loaded okay. Forget what the key is here, is it C for gear or V? I don't know, let me just press a few keys. Yeah, there we go. Fantastic. Right, I'll try that other tape now. So this was a recent pickup on a charity auction for cancer research, I think it was, on Chris's channel, Novabug. It was created by Yellow Belly, and he had lots of support. I don't know if there's anything in the credits there. He had lots of support from other people, well, a few people in terms of the graphics and all that sort of stuff, and getting it onto a tape like this. You can see some of the credits there. I can't really read them from this distance. My eyesight is, seems to be bad in this lighting here at the moment. But anyway, yeah, it's really cool. I was really pleased to have won this. It was expensive, I'm not going to tell you how much, but it's one of those things, like I said, I just stuck it on my credit card. I had a credit card with nothing on it, so I've stuck it on there. It's going to take me most of the rest of the year and part of next year to pay it off, but it's for charity, and it's just something nice that I really wanted. So let's press play, Control Enter, and Enter. Right, again, I'm going to be paying close attention to this because this is a prized part of my collection. I really don't want this to chew it, but I've loaded it on here a few times actually. Let's mute it on the CPC. Yeah, so it comes up saying loading block 1 for ages. It can make you think it's not loaded. Fantastic stereo music there from the CPC. They did a really good job of this. You know, that's the theme to Novabug's channel. It was created by T-Rex, wasn't it? T-Rex Space Station. He's a very talented guy, you know, does music and stuff as well. I love some of the... I'll post a link down below to T-Rex Space Station. So if I hit a key, shows you all the instructions and things here. I quite like this. So use the ladders to go up and down, you've got doors to go through, collect all the tapes, that's the aim. Hit a key, so you've got some of the enemies. Oh, look at this. Oh god. Some of these really make me laugh as well. Look, we've got enemies here. Specky, Pat as in Postman, Basil, Boom Boom. God. Dizzy, he's certainly a character I do not enjoy playing. Gremlocks, which look like Ewoks and Gremlins combined. Commodore icon there, and a bead. It's quite cool. So that's just the instructions, and then you've got to get past this, and then it will continue loading the main game. And there we go, that loaded fine as well. Let's turn it down on the CPC because it's come through the TV. I've got the controller here actually. Do I need to redefine keys? I don't think I do I? Choose normal. I'm guessing the joystick should work here. Oh no, you've got to redefine keys, that's annoying. Let's see if I can work out what the keys are. ZX. Oh, that's got me, look. Let's jump. Well, I think there's only 3 buttons. I paused it there, hang on. Space. Yeah, so it's a platformer. It's really cool actually, working your way through these levels. Kind of like a bit Manic Miner-ish. Anyway, you get the idea. It's well worth checking out though if you're a CPC fan. I'm just testing the keyboard here. See, that's working. So it's like the 369, 369, those weren't working, and obviously the small lens. So, and you've seen we've been using that to load. The other thing that was affected is some of the cursor keys. So you can see you can go up, down, right, and left. So yeah, the keyboard was fixed by that bit of copper tape and the conductive ink. So final test of the DDI3 here. I've selected Techno Cop. That actually works. Let's just turn that down. It should be coming through the TV, I think, if I unmute it. Yeah. See if we can start it. Plug the joystick in. Yeah, that's working fine. There's no sound on this bit. I was expecting some music or something. God, that's basic. When you get out of the car and you do the bit where you run around shooting criminals, it's not too bad. I've got fond memories of playing that on the Specky actually. So I'll just pick the camera up to show you. It's not too bad actually. Not too bad at all. Obviously there was the odd mark. You know, you can see them here. You can see little scratches. Got the more visible here. Look, but you can only really see them when you're looking super close. So it's not too bad. The bit up here, yeah, you could just get a grey like that, but the problem is it's matte, but it's got like a smooth, you know, glossy sort of finish to the surface. So trying to touch that up, you could do it. You could touch that up if you were really careful, using a cocktail stick or something, and just literally just get the smallest amount of grey paint on there. But you need to match it. You know, put a piece of plastic or something here, get some black and white, and keep mixing it until you get pretty much exactly the same kind of dark grey as that. You could do that, and the same with the little scuffs there. But yeah, I think that's great. It's fully functional. Of course, we looked at a number of CPCs now. You've seen the first one that I had on my channel, the one that's in my collection. I'll stick a link up there to that one. But it was useful to have a look, if anything, at this Diagnostics ROM here. So a massive thanks to Noel's Retro Lab. I'll post a link down below to his channel, maybe specifically that video, so you can go straight to it. So I support Noel on Patreon, he supports me, we have done for a while. It's well worth checking his channel out, he does a great job, and yeah, this is super useful. And before I forget, a huge thanks again to Electronash. If you've not already seen it, there's the Sega Megatech board here. I'll stick links down to part 1 and part 2. You can see lots of lovely carts in here. There will be a part 3 on this, but yeah, cheers Ash. So as usual, I hope you found it interesting. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the Patreon links and the coffee links down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.